This is Norfolk. This is St Nicholas, West Lexham. And this is St Andrews in East Lexham. Let's take a look and see how far apart they are. Oh, not very. About a mile. There are many things that are interesting about these two sacred places. There are these gorgeous and rather unique pictures from Richard Foster. Just look at this sparkling nativity, and here it's Judgment Day, and the dead are being reborn into their young bodies. I get a real 1970s vibe from this, which is terrific. There they are, refugees from Malcolm Bradbury's The History Man. If you're a certain age, the 70s are what youth feels like. Or there's this window that was made into a second-class stamp. Or this chair made out of misery cords from a nearby abbey. Oh, and this great St Michael and the Dragon. I'm getting distracted. The two interesting things I wanted to talk about today are, well, these round towers and the formation of a different kind of sacred space, the parish, of which Lexham is emblematic. So hopefully you can see, in person it's just obvious to the eye, that the round towers at both Lexham churches are old, very old. There's general agreement that St Andrews is the older of the two, perhaps part of it are pre-Norman Saxon. So why do churches have round towers?
Mrs. McCluskey! Mrs. McCluskey!
Tring.
The bells!
Yes, towers hold bells. It's an interesting sort of one-dimensional form of communication. A call to prayer, announce a funeral or a wedding, or even if a bunch of rampaging Vikings are coming over the horizon. The bells they heard, make it stop! Anything else?
So, as a viewpoint, you can watch for Vikings, and you can hide in it.
Well, churches were used as watchtowers in troubled times, but they weren't defensive structures, though some do have castellations. Anything else?
Sir, the height, it's imposing. It shows authority.
Good. But why round? Yes. Someone other than Tring. Wortle, what about you? Could it be as simple as the local community only had flint available and not much else? It's a material that's really hard to form angled quoins. Look at the rusticated quoins on that. It was a cheaper and simpler option to build round buildings. Oh, and if you think about it, the towers taper as they go up. Look at the walls. That's an incredibly hard detail to build with this square brick or block work or angled brick. But with flint, loose flint, it's not too hard, arguably. Oh, and the maximum dimension of a circle varies so that the longest length is only needed once. And you can use your wood more efficiently and keep your major timbers for shipbuilding. For a square tower, you've got to have the same length for any intermediate floor.
Wortle, you're such a square.
All right, Smode. Why do you think they built round towers?
Oh, they didn't. They were wells, and the flood washed all the earth from around them.
And now back to parishes. The two churches live in East Lexham and West Lexham. In 1891, the father of legal history, F.W. Maitland, coined the term for this practice. He gives many examples of these dual-named places. Great and Little, like Great Bursted and Little Bursted. Upper and Lower, like Upper Hayford and Lower Hayford. There are others where we see the perfidious influence of the founders, or just the owners of a parish, with the surname embedded with the rank. Kings, queens, abbots, lords, earls, or ecclesiastical, abbots, monks, bishops, canon, or ecclesiastical by other routes. Now, there's a lot of history and fun to be found in the name. He gives the example of Weedon Beck, already an alarmingly funny name, where the Beck comes not from a local river, but from the Abbey of Bec-Hellouin in Normandy, which tells you who might have been in charge at the time of the name change. And there are some that are just funny in every way. So, how does a new parish in the Associated Church come about?
A vanity project for a lord, or to express power from an incoming king or bishop.
Someone in charge organising top down. Mrs. McCluskey, don't forget, it can come from below. A community can self-identify and choose to represent that with a church. Yes, it's a little bit like liking this video, or subscribing to the channel, or sharing. It gets the tower built, but no one's in charge. And that's the connection between the round towers and the parish. Maitland speculates that many of these surnames are unlikely choices when the parish is initiated from a grassroots movement.
There, you are little bursted.
Thanks. Rather, that the surname-ification of the English village has all the stamp of willful, heedless authority. So, in the Domesday Book, there's only one church recorded at Lexham. There's no way at all to tell if it was the east or the west, or if actually both existed but only one was recorded. But there are many other similar places where shortly after the Domesday record, the names were surnamed as we move through into the medieval period. But there is something convincing about the older, perhaps ruder churches with round towers being built by self-identifying vills, proud to distinguish themselves rather than being imposed by a bishop or mandated by a lord looking out for a shorter walk on Sunday. East-west is one of the surname pairs that a villager might actively choose. Remember, the people of England at the end of the Saxon regime had been converted to Christianity, and then as lands were taken by Vikings, been returned to barbarism, and then the Christians had successfully conquered the lands that had been taken over by the Danes, even while the Danes remained in place, and then the Normans came. In such a place, cherishing your own local brand of Christianity may well have come from the grassroots. So what I'm arguing is that while Maitland is generally right and that the surname-ification is often a sign that something was imposed top-down, maybe it doesn't apply to Lexham. These amazing round towers, very basic, very rough, were a sign of pride in their local faith. This is Mrs. McCluskey here, about Smode's medication.